Avoidants have been through the same relational pattern so many times they can predict it with their eyes closed. Someone pursues, they retreat. Someone demands more, they offer less. Someone gets hurt by their distance, and they use that hurt as justification for leaving. Every person has played the same role in the same script, confirming the avoidance worldview that connection is unsustainable and people are fundamentally unsafe. But then, they encounter someone who does something they never expected, refuses to participate in the pattern at all, not through manipulation or game playing, but through genuine self-possession and emotional maturity. This breaks the avoidant's entire relational framework and forces them to recognize that maybe, just maybe, this person is fundamentally different from everyone else. Subscribe to understand what actually makes you stand out to an avoidant and why it's not about chasing harder, but about showing up differently. You do not make their behavior about your worth. Every person the avoidant has encountered interpreted their withdrawal as personal rejection. When the avoidant created distance, previous partners panicked, questioned their value, became consumed with figuring out what they did wrong. This reaction confirmed for the avoidant that people cannot handle their patterns, that connection inevitably leads to emotional chaos, that they are better off alone. But when someone responds to their distance without making it about themselves, the avoidant experiences something revolutionary. You recognize their withdrawal as a regulation pattern, not as commentary on your value. You maintain your sense of self even when they pull back. You do not spiral into insecurity or blame yourself for their limitations. This response is shocking because it suggests emotional maturity the avoidant has never witnessed. It demonstrates that you have done enough internal work to separate their behavior from your identity. The avoidant realizes that you are not like anyone else because you are secure enough within yourself that their unavailability does not destabilize you. This is not about having no feelings or pretending their behavior does not affect you. It is about having the psychological strength to know that their patterns are about them, not about whether you are enough. You hold boundaries without punishment. Most people respond to avoidant behavior in one of two ways. They either tolerate everything out of fear of losing them, or they punish them through withdrawal, passive aggression, or emotional manipulation. But you do neither. You have clear boundaries about what you will accept, and you communicate those boundaries calmly, without making them weapons. When the avoidant crosses a line, you address it directly, and then give them space to decide whether they can meet you there. You do not chase after setting a boundary. You do not explain repeatedly. You simply state what you need and allow them to make their choice. This approach is entirely unfamiliar to the avoidant. Boundaries have always come with anger, resentment, or ultimatums that felt controlling. But your boundaries are not about controlling them. They are about protecting yourself. The avoidant realizes you are not like anyone else because you value yourself enough to have standards, while also respecting their autonomy, enough to let them choose whether to meet those standards. You are not trying to change them or fix them. You are simply being clear about what works for you and allowing natural consequences to unfold without drama. You build a life that does not revolve around them. Perhaps most powerfully, you demonstrate through your actions that your happiness does not depend on their availability. You have friendships, hobbies, goals, passions that exist completely independent of whether they show up or not. When they are present, you enjoy their company. When they withdraw, you continue, living fully without falling apart or making them feel guilty for needing space. This is transformative for the avoidant because every other person made them responsible for their emotional well-being. Previous partners organized their entire existence around the avoidant's inconsistent presence, which created enormous pressure and guilt. But you have your own life. You are whole without them. This does not mean you do not care. It means you care about yourself enough not to sacrifice your well-being for someone who cannot consistently show up. The avoidant realizes you are different because your interest in them is genuine, but not desperate. You want them in your life, but you do not need them to complete you. This paradox is deeply attractive to the avoidant because it removes the terror of being consumed while still offering real connection. You accept them without trying to fix them. The final distinction is that you see the avoidance patterns clearly, but do not make them your project. You understand their attachment style, recognize their limitations, and accept that healing is their responsibility, not yours. You do not send them articles. Do not try to therapize them. Do not make their growth your mission. You simply remain steady, offering connection when they can handle it and space when they cannot, without trying to accelerate their process or rescue them from themselves. This acceptance is radical because it does not enable their dysfunction, but also does not demand they change immediately. The avoidant realizes you are not like anyone else because you see them fully, understand their complexity, and still choose to engage without trying to fundamentally alter who they are. You trust that if they are capable of growth, they will pursue it, and if they are not, you will not sacrifice yourself trying to force it.